Hello and welcome to Connect to Love here on PRN-FM. It's a sacred space for exploring love, oneness, and our ever-evolving human spirit. I am Lisa LaRose, and I'm joined by Michael J. Russ. And I want to say welcome, Michael. It's a beautiful day here. How about in your corner of the world?
Gorgeous. It's not as humid as it has been, and it's a nice little southerly breeze. It's beautiful. It's classic day. Classic day in June. It's mid-80s. What can I say? With a touch of humidity. So we're into summer. We're into hurricane season. We're into summer. We're into tornado season, where people are around the country, and inclement weather and all that. We've got all that to look forward to, and to be happy and all of that.
Being happy wherever you are, which is wonderful. Right. I think that's a wonderful gift, Michael. And I think that's part of love. Love is all about just letting things be, to be happy wherever you are. And when we stop resisting who we are, we meet ourselves with full presence and no conditions. Love is not something we strive to earn or perfect. It's really that pure allowance of what is, being happy wherever you are. And I will share with you, last week's episode we did about the invisible threads of love and connection. And it was echoed through my day so prominently. It was just amazing. Actually, a few days after the show, I connected with a gentleman who I had seen many years ago, and there were just so many different things that reminded me of how we are truly connected. We were sitting there speaking about some different individuals that inspire him, and he said it's sort of like these threads of oneness. I thought, oh my goodness, we just talked about that, and I said to him, you need to pat yourself on the back. I said, you're tuning in. You're tuning in. And it's an interesting dynamic, because I think sometimes each one of us who are on this journey of discovery, we don't trust ourselves. And what if we could just love ourselves unconditionally? And what if we could just love letting everything just be, not resisting who we are, and just meeting ourselves with a full presence of no conditions, so that we can truly embrace every aspect of our journey and what it is that brought us here. I just think that each one of us is divine in our perfection. And I discover mine. I discover my gifts. I look at some of my things. I must say that I'm not always the most organized person in perception. If somebody were to look at my piles of different things, I know where everything is. But I have a lot of things going on in my day, and I have to sort of block things out in order for things to work. Sometimes there's not a lot of wiggle room in my day, but I know what I need to do. And I embrace and I'm grateful that I have the skill set that I can multitask and do so many different things. For me, that being able to do that and not beat myself up for the things that I don't get done, I just sort of let them be at the end of the day. And that's how I express love for myself. I don't beat myself up. I just, okay, tomorrow's a new day. It'll wait.
You get done what you can get done, and you move forward. Yeah, the emphasis, of course, on not beating yourself up, because I don't know, I don't care how long the list is. It's something that is going to continue to grow. So maybe you got 2 or 3 things you will definitely want to get done. You have the whole list. And I know what I have a tendency to do is to check off the things that are most important, the things I really want to get done that day. And the other things can wait another day or 2 or later in the week. And so it makes it easy for me to hit the mark, because I'm not overloading myself. I know what I can do, and I have 1 or 2 things, maybe 3 tops. And but the list is long. I've got things that I've needed to do for like a month, and they never make it to the top of the list in terms of priority. They'll get done eventually, but they're not. I could wait 2-3 months to do them, right? I don't have to. Every day there's something new, because that's life. Life is about, fielding the things that come your way and in a positive way. And that, to me, is what it's about. I can't predict what's going to happen. All of a sudden today the cat had to go to the vet to get checked out. That was unexpected. That wasn't on the list at all. There are other things that occur as well. Going and checking a neighbor's house who's out of town. It could happen any time throughout the day. It happened to happen before the show because I had 5-10 minutes extra to do that. But the whole idea, of course, as you said, is not to beat yourself up about it, and always be kind to yourself. That mantra is one that is a challenge for many, many people because we're hardest on ourselves. We're hardest on ourselves. Because we expect ourselves to be perfect. We expect ourselves to get things done. We have expectations about life, things we want to achieve. We expect to get there. And sometimes we put things in our way to challenge us in getting there. And instead of getting wrapped up in the problem, generally the way it goes, how and why did this happen now? I have other things to do, blah, 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 getting all upset about it, investing all that negative energy and lower frequency into whatever it is, you can simply say, all right, maybe I wasn't supposed to do that other thing today. Can I put it off to tomorrow? Yeah, it'll let me rearrange that for tomorrow. And let's take care of this today, because it's not an accident that I'm experiencing this today, right? No coincidence that it arises, that it's come up for me to take care of. So then just take care of it. It's the investment of negative energy and emotion that makes the event less palatable. We make it harder on ourselves to get through it because we have made this investment of it's hard, it's difficult, that'll be impossible for me to get done today, blah blah blah, right? We use those words that put further boulders in our way, and if we just clear the road without putting them in the way, keep the road clear, we just go boom right straight through it and make it happen and be happy doing it. Be, in my view, much happier doing it. It's something I'm always cognizant of. I guess that's why I'm rolling on about it, because that's really my every day of my life is like that. There's always something that I don't have control over that has entered my space of thought or physical space, and I need to deal with it. I don't know what I'm going to deal with when I wake up first thing in the morning. I just know, hey, I'm feeling good. I have an awesome day. I look outside. I see the sun shining. There's a few clouds in the sky. It's blue. It's beautiful. Breezy or not, step outside with the dog and it's great, and then the day kind of unfolds, and unfolds the way it's supposed to, regardless of what I think. It's the way it's
You're right.
supposed to unfold, right?
I know that was me Monday morning. At 7 a.m. my phone rang, and there was a water main break that put pressure on the water lines, and it burst one of my hot water tanks. And so as a person that was my tenant reached out to me and said, I've got water coming everywhere. So that was my morning. But how it worked out, it was just amazing. I mean, I got over there, made sure the water was shut off, called somebody. They were there within a half an hour, and I had a new hot water tank. And what was really incredible is the original hot water tank was from 2007. I thought, my goodness, I've never had to replace it. Is it something that how I wanted to start my week? Not really. Did I really want to spend the money on that? Not really, but it's okay because I know that it'll come back to me. And it was easy breezy, and there were other blessings that came from that whole encounter. So, and then you just move forward. Okay, I'm ready to do the next best thing that's going to be coming up in my day. Yeah. And I think that sometimes that's even how we need to be with ourselves, that we have these emotions or these perceived flaws that we have, and we just need to kind of do the same thing. Like, okay, maybe I have a little bit of extra weight that I put on over the winter. I'll be happy when I achieve that. Well, you know what? Why not take those conditions off of being happy or your own worthiness or your own self-love? Yeah. And just say, you know what, it's okay. And Louise Hay used to say that all the time. The more you love yourself, the more you're loved by others. And I think that it has a lot to do with that self-acceptance. And we talked about Ellen. She felt you. The reason she felt you, or the reason people are drawn to you, Michael, is because you do have a lot of self-love. You emanate confidence. There's a lot that goes on in your day too. You transitioned from taking care of horses to doing your business, and then I'm so grateful when you join me, and then we have a fantastic conversation, and then you're off to cook dinner, and who knows what else adventures are in your week. Yeah. But all of those things are done with love.
True. That is true. It's the thread that binds everything together. Here's another take on this as well, because a lot of times we totally forget. We give an example. If my water heater broke here, anybody's water heater, you think about solving the problem, right? The problem is the water heater needs to be replaced, right? However, the universe, as a human soul, your mission here is not necessarily to deal with water heaters being replaced. That's something that you'll have to do because of something else, as a consequence of something else. But let's take it beyond that. This is connect to love. So what about the connection you made with the person you called to arrange tell about the problem to arrange to have that water heater replaced? And then there's the person who might have had to call you back to get some details, the person who's actually going to deliver it. Maybe they needed some information. And then there's the person that comes over and actually puts the water heater in for you, right? So that's 3 people, 3 connections that you made within the context of that one issue, that one challenge that you had. And I know people who don't focus any on the connections with those 3 people. They think about, I want this problem solved, I want it solved now, right? And what do I have to do to get this problem solved now, right? Just totally overlooking the fact that you're talking to another human soul, another human being, that there's a connection there. And so the person who is really living and breathing the idea of love being the thread that runs through everything looks past the water heater being replaced and just breaks it down and makes each one of those connections as good as it can be, special as it can be. That is the way I operate. I want to make sure that the person I connect with, and it's not their problem my water heater went out, and they're not the one who's going to fix it. They're a go-between. So I realize, and I don't know where they are in their day. I don't know where their head is at. I don't know what's happening in their life, and it's not my job to know. My job is to make sure that I'm treating them with love and kindness, and then the next person, and then the next person. If there's a next person, that person too. And that is the idea, because the universe is about connection. Soul to soul, oneness, is about connection, not water heaters. Not broken, not spare, tires that went flat on a road. Not, being pulled over for a traffic ticket. There's these little things that occur, but it's the connections that you make to actually move through them that are more important than anything else. And because I value those things, I have a high degree of satisfaction in my life. Literally, from the person that, if I go to a restaurant, the person who I encounter when I first walk into the restaurant, the hostess, host, whatever, that is going to see to my reservation and being seated, I want to make sure that they're treated with the utmost love and kindness, and that the connection there is solid. There's a smile, there's eye contact, there's, I want to leave them better than I found them. And then the person who serves us, same thing there. I always ask what people's names are because I want to refer to them by their name if I can. These are little things, though. It's those little details that make life so much richer, in my view.
Right. It's interesting because you must be tuning in, because when I reached out to the water heating company, I gave my name and then I asked how they were doing, and I think the gentleman on the other end of the line was so used to people being in panic and fear or drama over what was going on that I caught him off guard. And I said, how are you today? And he didn't know what to say. And it was early in the morning. It was Monday. yes, I had a challenge, but I wasn't going to let that define me and my experience with this individual, exactly as what you were saying, because I know that they're professionals and that they do this all the time. They've actually replaced other water heaters for me, and I know I can rely on them. They do a really good job at a fair price. And so it was very, very interesting just to see how things unfolded with that whole situation. But I think that, Michael, you're right. We have that ability and that willingness to allow that grace of those interactions. It makes a big difference in how we can navigate the rest of our day or the rest of our life. And my tenant was a little bit in a panic. He's like, water's going everywhere. It's like, okay, shut it off. I said, I'll be there in 5 minutes. And I literally, because I wasn't very far away, I was woken up, but I'm not very far away from my property. So I was there, made sure that everything was turned on, because he said, I've got to go to work. I said, not a problem. Not a problem. I'll have it taken care of. And having that ability of being able to kind of navigate through my day. And then at the end of the day, I had, over the weekend, a healing session with this wonderful woman who you actually had a healing session with too. And one of the things that she said was very important for me was to make sure that I took a bath in sea salt. And my day was crazy, but you know what? I made sure I drew that bath, and I filled it up with sea salt. It was 2 o'clock in the morning, and I fell asleep in that tub. But boy, did I feel good afterwards. And that was my expression of self-love for myself.
Okay,
even though I woke up in cold water.
I must admit, I have yet to do that. I will do that. I keep going to the store and forgetting
your sea salt?
The Himalayan sea salt bath. No, literally, it is high on the list of intentions. I have just had, it's on that list that I talked about a few minutes ago, in terms of that. But I do make sure that my water is programmed, that's something I've been doing now for 3 years, which is the other thing that she said, make sure your water is programmed with love and kindness and balance and that it's grounded. And as you know, I ordered a grounding mat, which is the other thing that I really, really am looking forward to getting, because being grounded is incredibly important. So I did take off my shoes and walk around the yard in the grass, freshly mowed grass with my bare feet. And it does feel awesome. Just one of the little things I can do to ground myself for a few moments. Mm-hmm. It's interesting because I don't know what the temperature is up where you are, but and when it's 89 degrees down here and it's humid, and I'm perspiring after I come in outside, the idea of taking a bath, sort of one bath with sea salt, isn't as inviting. So I'm going to have to make it a little bit less hot, and I'll wait until the later evening. That's probably what I'll decide to do. But I'm happy that you did it, though. I know it felt awesome.
No, I did, and I one of the things that was so interesting, because I just met this wonderful woman at an event that a friend of mine was at, and I was really drawn to her. I felt her energy, and I got her business card, and then I passed it along to you, and so she didn't really know very much about me. And when she was doing the session, one of the things that she shared with me was part of my mission was communication, and it was all about love. And I had to smile. Mm-hmm. And I said, well, that's so interesting, because that's exactly and that was part of my mission. And I think that as you and I have talked about, accepting that and really owning that truth, that's part of my purpose, and allowing myself to live in that no matter what. There's going to always be things that cannot change or out of my control. But when I bring myself back to love, And even to the point where sometimes I had a good friend of mine she had a panic attack, and I did some energy work with her, and I just asked her to please speak these words: I love and accept myself for all my amazing gifts and blessings. And to say that I love and accept myself exactly as I am even in difficult moments, can also be very profound. And it can shift. And I think that it helps us remember to be kinder to ourselves. Many people that I've worked with over the years are not able to say those words, that they love and accept themselves. But usually by the end of a session they're able to say them. But it's more prevalent than what you think.
Well, that's true. It harkens back to our Ho'oponopono episodes. We did 2 of them, I believe, in the past couple of years. Ho'oponopono, with the Hawaiian prayer of forgiveness.
For our audience members, do you want to just say it for our audience members who weren't privy to that episode, so they know
4 lines.
They know what
4 lines. It's I'm sorry. Please forgive me. I love you. I thank you. That's it. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. I love you. I thank you. It's not necessarily focusing on anything specific. It's just when you feel anxious, when you're having some sort of anxiety attack or a panic attack about something, forgiving yourself for whatever it is that led to that. Because we put a lot of weight on top of ourselves. As I said earlier, we're hardest on ourselves. And the idea of saying, I'm sorry, please forgive me, to yourself and the universe or whatever circumstances, doesn't really matter. You're not looking to dot I's and cross T's. You're looking to put it out there. It's an energy. It's an energy of forgiveness that you're releasing from yourself, from your heart. And you are literally forgiving yourself. You're forgiving yourself for your actions, for your feelings. You're forgiving others. You're forgiving everything within your realm is forgiven. And you get back to basics. You just get back to normal. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. I love you. I thank you. Right?
Right.
You let those words and that energy, the energy of that prayer of forgiveness, just permeate your whole body, your energy field, and the energy field's beyond your energy field. You just put it out there, and you do feel good. You feel good when you say it, and you say it over and over and over again until you're calmer, and
yes.
you're able to, because it does lift the weight from your shoulders.
Right, and Dr. Len called it cleaning. He would clean. When he would have a situation that was prickly, he would clean. He would say the Ho'oponopono and just continue to say it over and over and over again. And I do feel myself that when I do it, I do feel cleaner when I'm done. I don't know about you, Michael. Is that something that you experience?
Yeah, you feel it is a cleansing of your energy field. It's a cleansing of your body. It's physical, metaphysical. It's just a cleansing, and yeah, you feel awesome when you said it, and it's because the energy is so powerful. The energy of forgiveness is so incredibly powerful.
Mm-hmm. It's so true, and I think that when you say it too, it's that reminder of that unconditional love. That unconditional love isn't about perfection. When you say I'm sorry, that's recognizing that there is a need for forgiveness. Forgiveness I have always looked at as divine. Forgiveness is divine. There's a reason that they say that. That when you forgive, you're allowing a different energy to come into play. And I think that allowing, and you and I have talked about this, I mean, it's the art of allowing from Abraham Hicks. The teachers talk about allowing. It's one of the higher frequencies. And when we stop trying to micromanage everything and allow ourselves just to be in alignment, that's really when that love, that unconditional love, can come in. What is allowing? The absence of resistance. And it's just allowing us to remember our own magnificence. It truly can make a big, big difference.
That's true. That is so true. It's, it's just something you have to do. We can talk about it till we're blue in the face, but when you start repeating it to yourself over and over, especially I think Pam Gregory was in an interview the astrologer Pam Gregory, and she said, Ho'oponopono is part of it's part of each day. You just take a moment and you say it a couple of times, and you move forward, and it shifts the energy. It especially when you know you're being hard on yourself, when you're pushing yourself to get something done, and somehow the stars aren't aligning to make that happen, and for a reason, because maybe you're not supposed to do it in the way that you're doing it. Maybe you're putting too much pressure on yourself. Maybe you're interjecting too many negative feelings and emotions into the mix. You're not doing it with love, but you're doing it through obligation, and you should really love everything you do and put love into it. And there is a way to do that, and that is shift your perception about what you're doing. When you see something as an obligation, that perception alone starts to dictate how you face it, how you move through it. And it's not a loving thing to just say, oh, this is an obligation I have, unless it's a loving obligation, right? It's a loving thing. You may be obligated to bury your mother, but you're doing it with love. You're engaging the whole process with love, not from the negative context of obligation, but as I am lovingly obligated to make sure that this happens, right? And so I'm going to handle the whole process with love, to make sure I'm obligated to make sure that love is woven through every part of this process. And I think we can go through all our days like that. We can do it if we are mindful of it, that is the way we want to pursue our actions, our intentions during the day. And Ho'oponopono it away. It's just, you just keep doing it. Keep saying those words. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. I love you. I thank you. And put your hand on your heart when you say it. Put one hand over the other on your heart, and just expand that heart energy into the words. That is really, really potent in terms of how many positive feelings it also impacts, and where it takes you and how it shifts you, in another direction. Yeah, we need more of that. More
we do.
Ho'oponopono, every single day with the things that are going on in the world that people are paying way too much attention to.
Right.
A lot of it is there's a whole machine around the negativity that breeds fear and anxiety. A whole machine. And that machine has a purpose. And that machine is about robbing you of your power, taking away your power, allowing you to seeking to expand the fear and the doubt and the worry and the concern and frustration that you have. They feed off of that. Now imagine you got a big monster that feeds off those negative, lower frequency emotions, and you have the antithesis of a monster. Okay, your fondest dreams and manifestations that feed off positive energy, right? That are brought forth through higher frequencies of enlightenment and love and happiness and joy and freedom and peace, those kinds of things. That's, and forgiveness and gratitude. They're not just words. There really are energies behind them. And
100%.
And those energies, they work for you, man. You put them to work for you. You put them to work. It makes life easier.
There's an author that I love her books. They're just very quick, short books, and they're magic books, and they're all about becoming magic. And I just listened to two of her more recent ones. One was actually called Magic Words, and it's not that the words are magical. It's not like abracadabra, that type of word. It's that when we use words like gratitude and changing the language around something, that it can really rewrite our story. And I'm glad you brought up fear, because I believe that fear thrives in resistance. And the moment we turn our attention from the distractions, and I think I sent you a post that I had seen, Michael, that was really quite amazing about distraction. They took the word distraction and then they removed the word dis and then you were left with traction, and then they removed some more letters, and then you were left with action. So it was distraction, traction, action. And below that it read, what you remove shapes what remains. And I thought this was so profound because so many of us are distracted. And if we can turn that distraction into the traction that moves us and that allows us to take action on what we want to do, our passions, whatever it is, it makes a profound difference. There's so much that is distracting us, and we find ourselves getting angry about something, but when we kind of go in and you drop into that heart space and we look at ourselves with kindness, that fear begins to melt. As when we drop into the heart center and we feel love for something, we're using those magic words, that you're noticing something beautiful and you're shifting around a situation. And one of the things that she suggested in this book, that when you're in a situation where she said, just stop complaining. Stop complaining. Go a week and don't complain about one thing and see how your energy shifts. I think that it's really brilliant. And I caught myself going down a different road today, and I was like, nope, I'm not complaining. Okay, how can I turn this into a positive story and just really love on it and love on it, love on it, love on it. And as I did, more things got done, more things aligned themselves, and it was just really wonderful. But I think if we can treat ourselves with the same kindness and understanding that we would offer somebody else, I mean, it's not an easy thing to do. Oftentimes we do put other people first, and we have to, it's being selfful, it's not being selfish. You just have to sometimes say, you know what, I know that I said I was going to go do this with you, but I'm feeling a little bit too tired. I need to stay home. And after that session on Sunday, I was going to go to a potluck and I was going to go listen to music, and I just sort of felt like, you know what, I would really love to see my friends, but I need just to have this quiet time just to me. And that's what I did.
Yeah. I took a couple hours after our session to just kind of chill before I went to dinner. But, sometimes it's recognizing what you and your body needs. You know, that's really what it's about. Some people just go, and don't pay attention to their body. It's all about being busy and accomplishing and all of that. And I think we've known way too many people who end up in a bad place when that occurs, because they're driven by something other than, maybe they're driven by their passion and excitement for what they do, but there's also a little bit of self-aggrandizement. The ego gets involved. And when that occurs and you start piling things on top of yourself, it can be a little bit of a challenge to listen, to hear what's going on with your body. And in that instance, you know, that's when you get out of balance, and that's when health issues can come at you. Your immune system becomes depressed, because you're going from a love and a passion for what you do to now you step into fear of not being able to accomplish whatever you set out to accomplish, doubting that it'll happen within a certain time frame, and then, it's a snowball that starts to roll downhill, and without realizing it, all of a sudden you're in a dis-ease situation. You know, you dis-ease in your life, an imbalance in your own energies. As a result of the 3D world that you're a part of, that you've made yourself a part of. And so I tell everybody that's a workaholic, you know, take a break, go have some fun, go do some things that you wouldn't otherwise, you know, the things that you have on your list that you don't accomplish. Take a trip, go to a lake, go to a beach, go somewhere that interests you, and collect your thoughts. You know, separate yourself from this thing that's rolling along, you know, 100 miles an hour, and you can't stop it, because your health is going to be one of the things that is put at risk because of the way, and there's also the word guilt. People feel guilty about not doing what they have obligated themselves to do, or what somebody else has obligated them to do, and it's just a runaway train situation, that you're about to step in front of, right? Because you can't slow it down. You're going to, and eventually you will step in front of it to stop it, and that's when things that are not so healthy occur to your body. And I think keeping your frequency high is part of your immune system. You become immunocompromised when you think and act from lower frequencies and emotions of fear and worry and frustration and concern. You depress your immune system, and we all it's something that we can live for a very long time if we treat our bodies right, if we treat our energy field right, if we treat our heart right, and do things that lift us up and make us feel awesome. You're going to live a lot longer. Right.
I'm smiling because when you were talking about the importance of grounding, and I think that what you're speaking about, making that time to go out and just letting everything else go, allowing, just to be in a space of wherever you need to be. And after I finished all of my excitement in the morning after my water heater, I went up to my Airbnb and I had the sweetest gift from my guests. They left, it was a spoon rest, and they hand wrote on it, "Life is short, lick the spoon." And I was like, oh my gosh, this was so apropos for me today. Life is short, lick the spoon. And to make that time and it brought me back to my childhood memories when my mom was baking cookies. And she'd let me lick out the bowl and lick the spoon, or she's baking a cake. Oh, lick the batter. Those are times in my memories that I cherish from childhood. And she always made time for us to allow us to lick the spoon. She wasn't so busy, oh, no, I got to get going. I've got to, put the stuff in the dishwasher and get going. No, there was always that time. And I think that, Michael, you and I spoke a little bit before the show, love is an allowance. And when you look at it in those terms, we don't really think about it. But love is everywhere, and it's wherever we need to have it. But when we think of love as an allowance, we allow ourselves to be who we are, where we are, without any hesitation. It's just that unconditional self-love. So life is short. Lick the spoon, Michael.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Like we would say down here, life is short. Take a walk on the beach.
Yeah. Well. Yeah. Or in the woods, or whatever it is. Yeah.
Yeah, in the woods. I love it. Yeah, I think you're so right about that. It's the little things that make life incredible. Getting caught up in the big things, the little things that we make into big things, or the big things that we think are really big because they're problematic, they're disruptive in our life. The disruption is for you. It's not to you, it's for you. It's a way of living that actually enhances your life. This is what I say. It enhances your life instead of detracts from it. Because the things are going to come. They're only as big as we believe them to be. Anything that happens in our life. And as far as the whole idea of allowing ourselves, this whole show has kind of been about allowing ourselves to forgive, allowing ourselves to love, allowing ourselves to connect with other people in ways that enhance both of us, you and the other person. And you never know what can come from it, because not everybody is aware, right, of how they're allowing the outside world to make them feel. And so there are people you'll come in contact with, like your person who you connected with about replacing the water heater. The way you approach them is exactly the way I approach people, understanding that this person likely has people dumping all over them all day because something in their life isn't right. They've been thrown a curveball, right? And so it's true that people who constantly get this barrage of negativity from people who are not connecting through love, how that you can throw them for a loop when you're not, when you are kind. You know, when the world is going to hell in a handbasket and you're calm, you're loving to the people that you encounter along the way. It makes their life, at least makes their moments, much more pleasurable. And to remember that, and if we just had that happen right now, just right now, all over the world, all of a sudden everybody cared about other people. Everybody loved the moments that they were spending. They cared about the other person that they were interacting with knowing them or not, for no matter how long it was, how short or how long. A lot of things would change in this world. A lot of energy. That would send a huge barrage of positive energy, loving energy, out into the consciousness of this planet, and I believe it would impact us in unimaginable ways, positive ways, you know. And I think about that likely, you know, most days, about when I come across something, somebody did this, somebody did that, and I'm thinking to myself, boy, if there could just be a little love involved here, instead of always being reactionary, because that's the culture that we kind of live in right now, is reactionary culture. We expect, we want it now. Okay, we have that expectation that we want it now. If we don't get it now, we're upset, and a lot of times things just don't happen that way. You know, my girlfriend Sandy bought a chair, and the chair's not expected to be delivered until the 3rd week of September, but she bought it now. She had to pay for it now, right? You can't wait until the third week of September to go buy it. It's like it's out there, right? It's coming at some particular point in time. You forget about it until it happens, but you have to do it now. If you want that chair, that's what you have to do. You know, it's not going to be like you can just walk into a store and buy it and take it home or have it delivered. But the expectation now, and that's really odd, because we live in a world now where you can order on Amazon and get it in about, get it as little as 1 day, right? If you live in the right city, you're getting it in a couple of hours, okay? So that can really warp your idea of your timelines, right? Your timelines can get totally out of whack. And, we live in a get it now society, and interestingly enough, we don't give ourselves what we're giving out. We don't give ourselves instant love. Think about that for a second. We don't give ourselves instant love. We don't give ourselves instant kindness. We somehow have a tendency to wallow in the negativity, the problem, the how, the why, and blame other people, get into victim consciousness about little things. And if we could just let all that go and say, love doesn't involve any of that. I love myself. I allow myself to love myself, and I allow myself to love, period, to connect with my heart. And we're heart-centered. You're heart-forward. You can do it. The whole idea of heart math, why don't you tell our audience kind of about that, because I think they need a reminder that they should likely go to that YouTube channel about heart math and see that heart coherence is real, that there's a science behind it. It's fascinating.
It's so interesting, Michael. And you mentioned this because I was just watching a video about the heart, and the heart is not a pump. It's a spiral. And what they found, and I apologize, I don't remember the scientist, but he actually unwound a human heart. And it's a lot like a nautilus shell, and it's this spiral, and it is a vibrational energy. And sure, it does move the blood through the body, and it is a very important organ. However, what the heart math, when they started to venture into this, they found that the electromagnetic field that is emitted from the heart can be measured to 9 feet from the human body. It's interesting when you start to get into what they call coherent state, where it's a nice, easy sine wave. It goes up and down. It's not a real erratic pattern in our brain. We can drop into the field of the heart, and it sends out a lot of vibrations out to all of those around us and can impact our circumstances. So the Heart Math Institute have these devices that are all around the planet that measure the coherent state of the earth itself, the Schumann resonance. And what they found was on the morning of 9/11, there was a spike, not just in New York, but it was all over the world. And if you think about that moment, if you were alive at that time, I think most everybody just went into that heart space. It was just, we all connected. We all felt something. And I think that when we, as everything that was going on in that moment, as distressing as it was, we all sort of looked at each other with a different eye that day. And from then on. And their work is really, really profound, and they have little tools. I have an M-Wave that actually is a coach. It's a coherence coach. It teaches you how to get into that heart space. And I used it a lot with clients. I bought it for myself because I wanted it, but then I thought I used it with little kids. There was all kinds of really interesting things that you can do when you are in a coherent state. And I go back to what Bashar always said, circumstances don't matter, only your state of being matters. So when you are in a state of loving coherence and you're emitting that from your heart, you're eliciting change to not only yourself but to all those around you. And it's really a blessing. And I think it's a reminder to not resist, to really just to be in that heart space. Can you allow this moment, whatever it is, allow yourself to just be and lean into that space without needing to change or control it. Just be, send love. Practice of Ho'oponopono, just send love to whatever the situation is.
Yeah.
And be in your highest joy. Mm-hmm.
That is absolutely amazing. I did not know that about the heart, but it does make so much sense that it has many, many chambers and that it is a resonance device. Somebody was probably going to paraphrase this, but I was listening to someone who was actually saying that the heart is it's not an organ. It's an energy source. It's an energy source for the human soul. When we without it, we don't have an energy source, right? We think, oh yeah, it's an organ. It's the most important thing. It pumps blood around our body to every organ. Blah blah blah. The whole nuts and bolts of it. But really, it's our energy source. You would say, in Star Trek terms, the ship is powered by a beryllium sphere, right? A power source, a source of very, very clean, high energy power, and that is what our heart actually is. And I know it's amazing how, in not knowing that, we can put ourselves in a situation where we impact our hearts in a negative way. If we understood the value of it, and that our existence here, not only from a nuts and bolts perspective, depends upon having a heart that's healthy and beating and feeding the rest of our body, blood and nutrients. But we're 70+% water. We're an energy field, an energy body with a source of energy right in the middle of it, And somebody was, it's odd. I pick up these little things when I listen to various people that we enjoy, and one of them most recently just blew my mind. It was about the fact that if you took a camera and the camera went from one side of your body inside to the other side, that there wouldn't be much there. There's not much there.
Wow.
We're 70% water, right? And it's not dense. You're not going through density. Think about that for a second. I was like, wait a minute, hold on a second. You take a camera and you go from one side, and you film through the other side. It's like going through tissue paper. Yet Here we are. It's amazing, yeah, with a source of power. I think we have to step back and really assess the heart coherence that we have, the way we're treating our heart. Just basically flat out how we see it, how we perceive it, because we tend to have a tendency to take everything for granted, right? It's every organ, everything for granted, but the heart is the most important. Without it, your soul doesn't exist on this plane. Without that energy source, right, it doesn't exist. So, a very interesting analogy, and one that caught my ear.
Yeah, no, Michael, and it makes me think of, when you said that about the water, I think about the flow. How many people do we listen to and tune into? It's all about flow. It's allowing, flowing, allowing. And we're honoring that water with the inside of us. And Veda Austin, when she did her most recent interviews with Pam Gregory, and they were speaking about the telepathy tapes, and they asked these autist children what water was. And they said love. Love. We are water, we are love. And so when we just sort of embrace that flow, no struggle, no surrender, we just allow ourselves into that wholeness. We raise that vibration, not just for ourselves, but all of humanity. And when we have that self-love, that unconditional self-love, we become that beacon of light for other people. And it can be as simple as just taking a deep breath, like, let it go. Let go of that judgment. Let go of wherever you are about whatever situation you're in, and just feel that love. Drop into that heart. I mean, if you don't know how to drop into your heart, just imagine a ball coming down and just from the top of your head and, bouncing into your heart. That's the way that when I first started my practices, that was one of the ways that I did it. And it was interesting because the author that I was speaking of that wrote the magic book, she said she would go to all of these trainings. She did a lot of different trainings, but she said she could never visualize. And she said she would get so frustrated, but she realized that she had her own path and that it wasn't about these exercises or doing things. It was just becoming magic. She wrote a book called Becoming Magic. It wasn't about becoming, that she was already it. And it's not about us becoming love. We are already it. And you tune into that heart and go, yeah, put your hand on your heart. I love that when you said that, Michael, because you put that hand on your heart, you take that deep breath, and you acknowledge, and whatever it is, you're grateful. I am love. I am this being and have this amazing potential and this amazing capacity. And thank God I'm here and to share it with you and everybody. I mean, I'm just so grateful. Love it.
That is brilliant in terms of understanding love and the heart. It's amazing. And I found myself recently, just in the last couple of days, because I was doing some breathing meditations, just finding myself when I'm in the car, taking big belly breaths, and just count of inhale for 8 seconds and exhale for 8 seconds, and big, taking it in, big in the belly, and it just feels so good. After about the third one, you're like so just chill and relaxed, and to think that not even children in school are taught how to breathe, to connect with their breath. Something so simple. And to be able to do that. There's so many things we're not teaching our young people that I know we talk about on this show. Simple things, just simple things that your inner conversation is important. What you tell yourself is the most valuable conversation that you will ever have. That is your most valuable conversation, because it dictates how you're going to feel and how you're going to respond to everything around you, and how you're going to interact with others. And instead of, there's so much counter-programming to self-love out there, so much counter-programming. And we have to recognize that that's what it is. It's counter-programming. That we are the programmers of our life, of our state of being, of our existence, of our experience. We are the programmers of that, not someone else. And we are the ones who allow ourselves, give ourselves permission to love ourselves. And that's where it does begin. Yes, we must love ourselves. Louise Hay was so right about that way back when she was speaking a language that a lot of people were just beginning to understand, right? And now it's so prevalent It's ubiquitous in the metaphysical, spiritual community about love and its connection to everything, and trees and animals and people, and everything is frequency, everything is vibration, and love has its own vibration, and you connect with everything through that. Hence, connect love. Gosh, I love that.
Mm-hmm. I do too.
That's your title. I find myself saying that a lot. But that's what we do. We when we just sit back and take 3 or 4 really deep breaths and just center ourselves, ground ourselves not only to the earth, but in connect with our heart energy, then we can manage our way through anything. We can manage our way through anything because we are already focused on the most important thing, right? And so the realization that everything outside of you is a mirror of what is going on within you. The strife that's going on in the world right now is not by accident. It's because there are billions of people who are living in fear and doubt, and this is their manifestation. It's what they're living. It's what's within them. It's the way it's their state of being that is playing out. This is something that Pam Gregory was talking about just yesterday in another interview, which I'm so blown away by where she's come and how confident she is in explaining it. It is amazing. I think it's about 6 months, and she has totally stepped up and is talking about these things, not only just astrologically, but just where the astrology in her view is seeing us going. And a lot of it is, the connection to the heart. It's connection to community. It's your connection to self-love. And I think the question that I would love our audience here on PRNM to answer is, after hearing this episode, is: are you allowing yourself to love yourself a lot? I mean, infinitely. Are you allowing yourself to love yourself infinitely? And are you doing that? Or are you beating yourself up, or you're putting yourself down, or at every turn? And be going forward more cognizant of how you're treating yourself, not only from the state of being that you possess in every moment, that you're framing from your own perceptions, but in your connections with other people. Are you putting the love you have? Are you generating it inside and having it radiate from you? Because that's what we're talking about. Everything changes when that occurs. Every connection changes. There's story after story of people who have had issues that have brought them into fear and worry and doubt. Just 3D issues, right? 3D issues, and and then have, from love, they have moved into it from a state of love, and the whole thing, it transformed everything. Now, we've got a little bit of a minute left here, but I just wanted to put that out there.
No, it's fantastic, Michael, and I appreciate it, because truly, it's a great reminder for everybody that not any one of us is on this journey of self-love alone. And it really is the ultimate path to peace, joy, and a deeper connection to all of us. And so every moment that we choose to allow instead of resist, and offer ourselves that kindness and that self-love, we are strengthening the whole field, that whole heart muscle of unconditional love. So thank you, and thank each one of you for joining us. It's just been amazing. It's always an amazing journey, Michael, a journey of discovery, of loving kindness.
Thank you for listening.
Yeah, thank you. And until next time, peace out, and then just embody as much self-love as you can.